GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Star Trek: The Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission: to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to boldly go where no show has gone before.
Naomi Wildman. I was setting it up. Oh. Welcome to the GNT show, where obviously we have no script.
Yeah, let's just get this puppy started.
As always, the beautiful, the lovely, the high-booted, short-skirted, big-breasted Terry Lynn.
That would be me. Admiral Shaw.
She's badass.
It's Ceridium.
Good morning. It's Sunday on the GNT show.
You know the worst part of this morning? It's not the getting up early. It's the fact they're making me wear clothes to do the show.
It's time for Coffee Clutch.
Strap on your helmets, boys and girls. It's gonna get rough.
Oh, it's going to be one of those mornings.
Let me put on my seatbelt, my helmet with the little blinky light on top.
For safety.
When we decided we were going to do the GNT show,
Man.
one of the things we said was no standards. GNT show does not go on the air because we're ready. It goes on the air because it's 9 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Mike could have snapped by then and killed us both. Pain sticks for Mike, evidently.
We have our production meetings on the air.
Well, it's the best way to get you to adhere to things.
Yeah, you've now set an expectation. That's the thing about the GNT show, is we set no expectations.
I need more coffee.
Wow,
I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to do general news or Star Trek news, and I figured
this is
out.
Terry
Okay.
having a series of small
It's news.
strokes, actually.
Well, it doesn't take long for this show to deteriorate, does it?
Straight the fuck downhill.
I don't always podcast, but when I do, I GNT.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the GNT Show, episode 175. I'm Terry Lynn.
Joe Lontrue, motherfuckers. It's Gettysburg 7. There she is to my left, your right, wearing her Roman Colosseum wear for today. I don't know what that's about. It's a bizarre little thing you got going on.
It's the sandals. I really like the sandals that wrap all the way up to your knees.
All the way, yeah. That's got to be a bitch, though.
It takes
You got to get up to walk the dog. You got to lace him up. Hold on, Chloe. Hold on, Casey. And there he is to my right, your left. And he's also wearing his Roman wear, but not the kind you think. He's eunuch today. It's Ceridium.
Oh, thanks.
Kapla.
Kapla. Oh, I don't go that high. I don't think I can ever
That's what
go
she
that
said.
high. If I go that high, something's wrong. Something's very, very wrong.
Oh, so funny. Well, being a eunuch would be very, very wrong.
Yes.
Oh, my God, that's too funny. Yeah, well, good morning, both of you. Kind of a weird week.
Morning.
Fuck. Well, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I did not go to work because I had a fever.
Oh.
I had a fever of over 101.
Oh my
Was it
God.
asking for more cowbell?
It was, as a matter of fact, you prick. Well played.
Well played, Mike. That was awesome.
Takes a bow? Takes a bow?
Yeah, I was pretty sick.
Oh.
I'm sorry to hear that, though, seriously.
But you know the good thing about it was when I left and would come back into the room, there's that smell that a guy has when he's just laying in his own fever sweat for days on end. Yeah.
Ew.
I call that Taco Tuesday.
There you go.
Sorry,
God.
I'm packing myself up here.
Who's got the Wendy's chili?
Oh my God, too funny. You guys cracking me up this morning. What the hell? It's awesome.
Well, you probably won't be when I get done with a rant that I've had building for days.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know what we're going to be talking about. So I mean,
Go ahead,
let's just
go ahead. What
let's
do you
just
think
get
it
to
is?
Coffee Clutch. What about the Oscars?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see your take on it. But
My take is that actors vote for actors.
Right.
Actresses vote for actresses.
Right.
Directors for directors, like that. And everybody votes for, Best Picture.
Right.
If anybody in this fucking world thinks that fucking Hollywood... Look, and, if we lose listeners because of this, well, fuck them, because they deserve to leave for me saying this.
Oh, God.
If somebody thinks somebody's owed a nomination because of the color of their skin, they're wrong.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, quite the opposite. There's been plenty of times where people have not gotten a nomination who blew it out of the water, but far lesser performances were nominated for what seemed to be really bizarre reasons. Now, what's the dude who wins every year? Not Jeremy Irons. Dude won from Daniel Day-Lewis, okay? Enough with the Daniel Day-Lewis, okay? We know. Meryl Streep, we know, okay? But my whole thing with this is, but it's an important movie. Let me explain something, and this is my personal philosophy on this, and Terry and Mike don't have to agree. Nobody has to agree. I don't care. It's my fucking view. Hollywood doesn't make any important movies. They make movies to make money. That's what they make, okay? It's independent filmmakers who the odds of them getting a fucking nod for something, first of all, they've got to get screens for it.
Well, I think that's what this is really about. I think that Selma's Shaft wasn't so much because it was a black film as much as it was because it was an independent film. That's what I think. I think that's why they got, I really do think that that's part of the reason why they got the Shaft is because Anna and her team made it on an independent basis. It's not a studio film. And I think that's probably why. I think it goes hand in hand with independent films getting the Shaft as opposed to
it's like, you know what?
A film about people of color.
Hey, independent filmmakers, welcome to being a genre filmmaker then.
Yeah.
Okay?
It seriously
fuckers,
is. You're right.
Because I'm sorry, and I'll say it, Robert Downey Jr., the first Iron Man, probably should have been nominated. He was brilliant.
A lot of genre. Sure, there's a lot of genre films. And remember when they expanded the Best Picture category from 5 to 10 films?
Uh-huh.
And
it was, last year? 2 years ago?
2 years ago. It was so they could bring Dark Knight in.
Yeah.
And
that was begrudgingly.
And totally begrudgingly, because this year they've only nominated 8. They could have expanded it to a field of 10, but only 8 films were nominated.
Here's something else I'm going to say, okay? If you think such and such a film, take a second and seriously think about this. Is there any profession in the world that is more self-congratulatory or more award-giving to themselves than Hollywood? You're going to get... Kirk Cameron is going to get awards. He's going to get Razzies for his films. Bad movies have their own awards, okay? And I guarantee you Selma will clean up at like the NAACP Movie Awards. Is it the Oscars? No. But there are 1,000 fucking awards. Stop it. Stop it.
Well, everybody knows that I might have a differing opinion. It's not necessarily, it's kind of like what I said. I would love to see more independent films being acknowledged by the Academy. The fact is that most of the Academy members are white and they're studio people. So that's where they come from. That's what they tend to turn their heads to and give nods to. It's just the makeup of their group. It's like Nick said, there's a ton of awards that are given out by a ton of different groups who acknowledge, quote unquote, their own. And the Oscars are made up of pretty much white guys from studios. So they tend to acknowledge their own. Would I like to see them branch out a little bit more? Oh, hell yeah, I would.
I'm sorry, last year, 12 Years a Slave was not the best movie of the year. It was a good movie, but it was not the best movie of the year.
Well, to your opinion.
Yeah.
Right. But to theirs, I mean, I would have liked to have seen Selma at least nominated, especially seeing as though there seems to be 2 empty slots.
Well, it also seems the director, by saying, I don't
Careful
care
what you say about the director, because I'm going to be very biased about her.
Well, I'm going to say...
Remember we were talking about people we went to school with?
Yeah.
She's an alum of my high school.
Well, that's good. Maybe she should fucking not be so thin-skinned when somebody says, wow, you're portraying LBJ, who, believe me, I'm no fan of, as kind of being against this whole thing, when every historical fact and record and even King's own writings say quite the opposite. LBJ is pretty much the opposite of what he's portrayed in that movie. And then she's like, well, that's a white person's opinion. And that came from people that were there.
And
I'm sorry, that's just, you rub people Tarantino doesn't get a lot of nominations for a reason, not because he's not a good filmmaker.
Correct. He makes films that aren't.
But he also rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Yes, and so does she.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's nominated for Best Picture.
What is?
Selma.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is.
But they're talking about the actors.
So what they're talking about is the director. Yeah, that's right. Well,
yeah, and
it won't win.
How many times have we seen? Correct me if I'm wrong. How long did it take Scorsese to win an Oscar? There's a whole fucking Has he even won one yet? He may not have.
I guess don't know.
I guess it's anti-Italian bias. That's what I'm going to call it.
I don't know. I'm personally, I didn't see it as big a snub as everybody else did.
I didn't either.
I think that, again, as Alan and I were talking, because we're big Oscar fans, and
you dress up.
We do. We have a good time. And
does he wear a tux?
Used to. I used to wear evening gowns and tuxes and everything. Yeah, but now we attend by FaceTime. We're going to the
now
party
it's fuzzy
again.
bunny slippers and house coats.
Totally. It's fuzzy bunny slippers.
Awesome.
But this year's, let's face it, the slate this year wasn't very deep. There were hard pickings this year for Oscar worthy, quote, what we consider to be Oscar worthy films. And remember a few years ago, I remember being on this show talking about what a bad idea the 10 film slate would be, because all it would do is fill it with bullshit that for films that the Oscars will never go to, and they'll never go to them because they didn't reach those basic hurdles of what they consider to be pushing the art forward, right?
I think a great example of, we were talking about independent films, Clerks, Kevin Smith's first movie, was, to me, again, a lot better than a lot of films. And I'm not a huge Clerks fan. I mean, I've seen it a million times because when you're deployed, it's an easy movie to just pop in because, it's so quotable. But it was a lot better than a lot of movies that came out that year. And it's a novice filmmaker making
Personally, I think that's why Anna DuVernay was also snubbed, is because they don't think that she's earned it.
Yeah, but
this is really her first. Well, she's done one big film before.
What was her other one?
And it was the one about the hip hop artist in L.A.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But this is really the first one that you could be considered the independent film that really went mainstream, right? It really got out there. It got the screens. It really got traction. I think that there's that idea that she is still
wet behind the ears.
I'll tell you. Oh, you know how political Hollywood is.
Oh yeah.
She's still got to earn her
dues to pay.
Yeah, she hasn't earned her dues. She hasn't. Yeah, exactly. She hasn't paid her dues yet. Is that a possibility of one of the reasons why she was kind of what we're calling snubbed? Absolutely. I think that, again, this is a good first effort.
I mean,
I swear, I think that's what this was. Great first effort. Keep trying.
It doesn't seem like she had people lobbying for her in the industry. Now, the public may have been, but let's face it. And here's another thing that people may not realize: films that come out late in the year. Thank you, Sun Seol. I love Kevin Smith so much.
Me too.
Films that come out late in the year, people may not realize this. And Terry, I know you know this. Academy members get it on DVD,
right?
So, and Brad Easton Ellis was talking about this on his podcast once. So, he was watching it at his poolside, a movie. And, there's something for that they can watch at any time. But there's also something for, a movie that came out this year, Fury, which I enjoyed very much on the simple fact that it was beautifully photographed. Well, yeah, Brad Pitt, but beautifully. I mean, the cinematography in it was just mind-blowing. And the portrayal of the tank battle actually was realistic. It wasn't, Hollywooded. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That I needed to see that on the big screen. Avengers, I needed to see on the big screen. Clerks, you don't need to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So people are watching these. A movie like Selma, if somebody watched it on their 60, 80-inch TV at home, it just may not have the impact to them that it should have.
Right.
And God forbid they're watching it on a flight from LA to New York.
You know what? I totally agree with you. I think that has a lot to do with the late films that come out. Or, you know what? It's not even that. There's 7,000 Academy members. Whether or not any of these Academy members get out of their seats and go actually pay for and see a film, I doubt. I think they're all doing it at home. I think they're all watching
I gotta tell
DVDs.
I can picture Clooney doing that.
Going to a movie? Yeah. Because he likes movies.
And I know
that's
definitely
the thing. He's a movie lover, right?
For Tarantino, he does.
Well, or he has a theater in his house.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, and again, if you watch Animal House at home, even on a theater with 2 or 3 other people, yeah, it's good. You see Animal House in a theater,
yeah, it's funnier.
150 other people, there's just something to that.
Yep. Boy, do I agree with you.
A great example of that would be Star Trek: The Motion Picture. At home, in the theater, on the big screen, yeah, the color scheme sucks, but it's just 2001 is a great example of that. How much, and then if it's a pan and scan and not widescreen, forget forget about it. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, we watched a movie here at home this week that was nominated for Best Picture, and
Zorro the Gay Blade?
Oh, I have that movie. No, we watched the Grand Budapest.
What were your thoughts?
I loved that movie. Loved it. Loved everything about it, even the fucking color scheme. But there's something about watching Wes Anderson films,
I was
right?
going to say, I love Wes Anderson movies.
It's the forced perspective, the center. Everything was centered in this movie. That's what's so funny. Is everything.
That's what he does.
I loved it. Well,
Kubrick did the same thing.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
What was the fucking Wes Anderson movie with the Boy Scouts with Ed Norton?
Moonlight Kingdom?
Yes, I love that movie.
Alan did too. I haven't seen it yet. Alan loves it. I'm also a big fan of The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, God, so good. Well, this is one of those films where I have to kind of go, you know what? My hatred of a color palette gets thrown aside because it's so overt that it becomes a part of the film. His use of the color palette in Grand Budapest was so overt that I understood where he was coming from. It was, I'm not trying to make things shiny. I'm not trying to twist your mood. I'm choosing a very stark color palette from shot to shot to shot because this is about a painting. It is about a flashback, and people their flashbacks or their idea of a recounting a memory is going to be cartoonish as opposed to true. At least it was for this film. Oh my God, I love this movie so much. I really did. I
haven't seen it yet, so
it's really good. I highly recommend it. Very, very fun. And it's also one of those films. It's the other thing too. It's going to be very hard to put up against Selma because they're two different films. They're very different films.
So different. And that's why I like something like, is it the Golden Globes, where the categories are pretty specific?
Yeah, they have.
Or is it the People's?
They have drama and then comedy. And musical.
Yeah. But see, my problem with that is a comedy.
Yeah. Would a dramedy, where would it be put?
We think genre films get a bad deal. Comedies get fucking bent over like they're in the Penn State locker room. Enough time has passed. Enough time has passed.
That was
Let
wrong.
it go. All right, let me retract it. They get bent over like they're visiting Jerry Sandusky. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. But comedies get fucked. I mean, except for Woody Allen films.
Although
those are comedies.
Well,
yeah. See, I call them dramedies.
Yeah,
they're
and to
more
me, Woody Allen has not been laugh out loud funny in
years.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that one.
I think Stardust Memories was the start of the downfall. And if people don't know early Woody Allen films, and you don't watch Bananas and laugh your balls off with Howard Cosell doing Wide World of Sports narration of a Latin American dictator's assassination, oh my God! Or not War and Peace. What was his take on War and Peace? Oh God! See, I don't think Annie Hall is even in his top movies. But anyway,
I think that was a fun conversation. I think we should.
I just think people get so. I think people were waiting on the edge of their seat to be upset about something.
I'm not sure. I think a lot of people were probably more
Magenta.
Not waiting on the edge of their seat to be upset as much as I think that they were all pretty much hopeful and expecting that their favorite film would have been nominated.
Yeah,
or I should say it was nominated, but the director. And
Guardians of the Galaxy should have been nominated. That's all I'm saying.
You know me, I fucking
better
love
than
that
a lot
movie.
of Drek that's out there. God, I don't know why fucking Rocky Horror is making an appearance, but there's Magenta, and that's some good stuff right there. I was so in love with Magenta. Shocker, the guy that loves goth chicks was in love with Magenta.
Yeah. Well, let's get to a little bit of Star Trek news because we have shitloads of it this week. Star Trek news? I am so proud to be a talkie geek.
We've got our problems with the film, which we'll get into on our dopey little podcast and nitpick it to death.
Star Trek news?
So congratulations to the always dreamy David Mack. There's Legos?
No. Star Trek news?
Yes, the story behind the story. The movie that never was made.
They got a Klingon!
I know.
Sold.
You playing Klingon? That's right, I'm gonna throw in a Buck Mackay rookie card. That's right, a Buck Mackay for people. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Star Trek news? Shitloads, telling you. Big steaming piles of Trek news. And that first
steaming piles of Lindenhof.
Yeah, that would be a big steaming pile, wouldn't it? Oh, well.
There was an article that came out. Mike, you sent it to us, I think. about Trek and how Interstellar was what Trek should be, not the JJ films.
Copy. Yep. As a matter of fact, I'll put the link for that.
I'm sure we'll get to it momentarily. Yeah,
that was a great article.
It was a very interesting article. Is this the one from William Bradley about Star Trek's troubling 50th anniversary?
Yes.
All right. That's the link I'll put into the chat room right now. I don't think Janet has it, but she can pick it up. It is a very interesting article about, and I think well thought out. There's a couple of things I disagree with the author about, but his concern is what we were kind of touching on last week, and that is, with the idea that the script has been thrown out, where does that leave us? Oh my goodness. And Star Trek deserves the 50th anniversary that Doctor Who and
James Bond
got. And I don't think
they're British. They appreciate. And congratulations, speaking of the Academy Awards, to Benedict Cumberbatch, Trek alum, for Best Actor nomination.
Yeah, I don't know if I could see that movie. It would just send me over the edge because
why?
The story? Because I know the story and I know what they do to him, and I don't know if I can handle it.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
I don't think I could sit through that kind of, sorry.
Sorry, you need to watch The Queen if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
Okay, is that the one with Anne? But you'll remember.
We love her. We both love her too.
Yes.
So
from
getting back to the article, so has it been confirmed that the script was thrown out, or is this still just speculation?
It's total speculation, and that's why I needed to kind of touch on that, saying I really don't think it's true. I think that they wouldn't have made the announcement of a director,
of a date or director,
and a date unless they had a script that was at least pretty much ready to be.
You got to read that article then that I put up about Alien 3, because they did the same thing with that.
And that kind of makes me a little nervous now.
Because they were rewriting it while they were shooting. Sorry, Mike.
Mike?
I lost track what I was saying, so.
Oh, sorry. But I can't, I really can't. Here's my question, though, is that I thought was kind of interesting was in the article, the author kind of appropriately kind of dings J.J. Abrams and his team for kind of falling apart. And I don't know if Star Trek caused the breakup or is a victim of the breakup.
Could be both.
What do you guys think? You think it's both?
Well, the problem was they were working on so much other shit. And I'm sorry, Transformers is shit.
It was. And Mission Impossible and everything else. And television and Star Wars, right?
I think a lot of it stems from JJ himself. I mean, from the beginning, he said that he wasn't a Trek fan, as we've repeated ad nauseum. So I mean that kind of set a tone, and then as soon as the opportunity came, he jumped ship to get over onto Star Wars because that is his love. So I mean, if you don't love something, why you're not going to work hard to make it to do anything great with it. So it was to me, it just seemed like
he didn't care. Nobody did.
And I mean, the only person that seems to care or see, and in the end, he got pulled from this latest project. So it's like, it's almost as if Paramount has no clue what they're trying to do, whether it's Paramount or Bad Robot or both. They have no clue what they're really trying to do with the Star Trek franchise.
And that's a great point, Mike. They may have had a plan at one point, but between 2009 and Wrath of Khan, Into Darkness, Wrath of Khan, that really was not as a Freudian slip. But between the length of time between those, all the other stuff that they were doing, 1,000 projects going on, booking is everything. You've got to book for the future. You can't, I'm sorry, I'm using pro wrestling vernacular, but you don't book your wrestling show from week to week. You have to have a long-term plan.
Right.
Otherwise, it's going to suck.
Right. I don't disagree with you. I'm actually a little bit, I would like to hear from, God, it would be, I just want to sit down with some people from Paramount because all I knew was that there was an exclusivity contract between Bad Robot and Paramount. Bad Robot got right of first refusal on any script that Paramount got. Any script. Every
How's that
movie.
working out for Paramount?
Huh? Yeah, exactly. But now with them kind of, KO paper, that Kurtzman and Orsi broke up, is Bad Robot anymore?
I think it's more, it's not that they're breaking up. I think they're diversifying to the point where they're being spread very, very thin.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think it's a breakup.
Sleepy Hollow hasn't been picked up for next year, so that
it hasn't.
No,
I thought that got great ratings.
I don't know what's going on. They renewed Gotham yesterday, but they haven't done Sleepy Hollow yet.
I thought it got good ratings, and the critics seem to pretty much enjoy it for what it is.
It's a romp, right? It's just a fun romp show, and you can't go wrong when you've got naked Ben Franklin and supernatural demons. Man, that's just fucking awesome. But
I think Ben Franklin naked is pretty much wrong on all counts.
Oh my god, it was so funny. Well, I don't know. I'm more concerned about that bigger picture right now. After reading this article by Mr. Bradley, it was well thought out. Again, I don't necessarily agree with him on every point he makes, but he makes some really, really good points. And he nails some of the issues that have come out of the JJ films, which we already knew and we've all discussed and we've all beaten to death.
We've said it before, and I'll go ahead and say it once more, is Star Trek is best when it's trying to be Star Trek, not trying to be anything else.
Right.
And I hope they
But isn't that, I think the problem is, and always has been, that kind of Star Trek doesn't translate to film, a successful film well. And it never really has. I mean, the most
How
successful...
did Interstellar do, though?
You know what? There's a lot of people who hated Interstellar.
Yeah, it got exceeding praise or exceeding hate.
Yeah. And there was a lot of people who came back going, oh, it was a nice try, but oh my God, did it jump the shark at the end, and it was really fucking stupid.
But I'm also wondering how much of that is people wanting Christopher Nolan to fail.
I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't think they want him to fail. I think that it was, the people who tend is going to be, in my experience, the people who saw Interstellar and who dinged Interstellar for the end of it were people I respect and who were intelligent and who said, this was fun, great science. And then, like a Stephen King book, the only way to get yourself out of it was with stupidity and supernatural. And so all it did was nullify the very first half of the movie. And I thought, oh, well, that's kind of sad. So there was a lot of people who didn't like it. But those are the same kind of people. Those are the same kind of analysts that would look at a Star Trek film, which is, oh, this is Trek, this is serious, this is great. They're touching on issues that, are touchy and sensitive, and they throw them back in your face, and then, do that in a Star Trek film and expect it to make a shit ton of money. The only thing that makes shit tons of money are Guardians of the Galaxy type films, right?
Well, and an interesting thing that he actually gave the numbers in there of the people that have said to us, well, look, Stid made a ton of money, not domestically.
Right.
Well, the current alternate universe. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's that much of a stretch for the current universe to kind of sort of have that fun adventure appeal that Guardians of the Galaxy has. Oh. It's just I don't want them to
Chris, you know what? Chris Pine could have played Star-Lord, okay? He is that kind of actor. They could definitely have that kind of fun with him in Star Trek and still make him thoughtful but they destroyed that in 2009 with him being an overbearing jerk.
Yes, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Why do we want to root for him?
Why is it no
because
longer
the script
okay?
tells us to?
Right. Why is it no longer okay to root for a good guy? I mean, a really good guy. That the only kind of good guy you can root for are the ones that came from some kind of a tragic background or something. Why can't you just fucking root for somebody who did what we're all supposed to do, which is work fucking hard and be a good person? Why can't you just root for somebody who's like that? That's the way Kirk used to be. So the original, even the Shatner Kirk is that Kirk. Worked his ass off to get where he was at the age that he was. He didn't do it because he cheated anything. He did it because he was fucking brilliant. And that's what I missed about the new Kirk, which was why? It wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary. The only reason why they did it was because JJ wanted to remake Star Wars. And the only way he could do that was to put in a Luke. And Luke lost everything, right? I had no aunts, no uncles. I got nowhere else to go. I think I'll join
Luke
the
was Matt
Academy.
Decker.
Who's Obi-Wan? I'm just saying.
I hated Luke Skywalker. I really did. And you know what? I said this to Sue, one of our convention friends. She's a huge Star Wars fan. I was like, I get pilloried for this, but I'd rather hang with Lando Calrissian than Han Solo. First of all, you're getting a Colt 45, okay? if people don't get that joke, there's some head scratching going on, Terry.
We just aged ourselves. Do they even make that anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I believe so.
Yes, they do.
Okay, let's move on with some more news. I already put a link into the chat room of a wonderful tweet that Michael gave me this morning. Dr. Kayla Iacovino.
Love her.
Tweeted this morning this fan-fucking-tastic film picture of her on the set of Star Trek Continues in a blue science uniform and wonderful makeup, and she's gonna be in Star Trek Continues.
I wonder if she's going to play a volcanologist.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be awesome? I think it's so great.
She's not only one of the most brilliant people you'll ever meet, gorgeous.
Just,
I said it.
She's just one of those women that I'm totally jealous of, and in a happy way. It's like, I'm happy to be jealous of her. I am.
I said this to one of, I talked to a lot of our convention friends on Facebook and stuff, and I said to one of them, I said, anybody that makes fun of us, they just don't know, because we have not only the coolest women, but really some of the most beautiful women.
I tell you.
And intelligent.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's
awesome.
She's,
how old is she? She's 25 and a doctor? What is she? Hi, Caleb.
Not
Nick
quite that
Minacci.
young, but yes.
Remember that at the convention.
She looks
Nick
25,
Minacci.
yes. She's adorable. I mean, she's just so fucking cute. I love her.
Yeah. And, well, since we're on the topic of Star Trek Continues. Their Kickstarter 2.0 has been released.
True.
So they are looking for $100,000 to produce 2 episodes, which is a little bit more than last time, because for $100,000 that they gave us 3.
Right.
But one of the big things that they want to do with these next 2 episodes is have them off the ship.
Yeah.
Actually go to a planet, which is infinitely more expensive.
And when they said that, it hadn't even dawned on me watching the first 3 that they hadn't left the ship.
Yeah. So I mean,
well, they did though in the first one. Remember at the end?
Yeah, that was less than a minute scene.
Right,
I think.
but
it was. But yeah.
Yeah, they want to do a planet-side story.
They want to do a planet-side story, and in fact, one of their goals, extension goals, is to actually create a alien planet set. I think that's for around 150.
They need their own planet hell?
Yeah, I guess so.
Come film in my room then.
So, actually, it looks like it's 175. 150. They want to upgrade engineering. Let's see. For 225, they'll do a third episode. At 275, they'll do 4, and then every 50,000 after that, they'll do another episode.
That's so fucking cool. Well, I put the link for the Star Trek Continues Kickstarter into our chat room. They have already reached 41,866 of their $100,000 goal. They still have 29 days to go. What was that, Mike?
In less than a day.
Yeah,
well, I gave them 20,000. So.
Oh, okay. That was very generous of you, Nick.
Yeah,
speaking of generous, happy birthday to Larry Nemechek.
Happy birthday, Larry.
Happy birthday.
Our favorite guests.
Boomer Sooner!
One of our favorite guests. We still have a ton of news. Oh my god! All right, did you guys see the floater pillow?
Pardon?
Oh, when I first saw that, I thought it was a hemorrhoid pillow.
Until we figured out it was a pool floater. StarTrek.com has announced some new items, including a pool float of the captain's chair and lawn gnomes. Star Trek lawn
I love those
gnomes.
lawn gnomes.
Star Trek lawn gnomes, which are hilarious. I think I need the red shirt. Join Starfleet, they said. It'd be fun, they said.
Is there a Gorn one?
Yes, there is a Gorn one.
Of course there is. You can't have a lawn gnome that's not a Gorn.
It's a Gorn, and it says, I shall be merciful and quick.
Yep. It's got their version of Kirk. Yeah.
And then there's Kirk and Spock can coolers, like beer coolers. Where you...
Beer cozies. Yeah, those are cool as well. This is actually a very fun post.
I'm loving these.
These products are awesome.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that they're starting to expand what they're offering the Star Trek fan now.
Whoever came up with the gnomes is just a genius, because those are awesome.
So cute.
What was that? Was that movie called Gnomes? Did you ever see that?
No.
Romeo and Juliet?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Hilarious.
Is it really? Aw.
I laughed a lot.
That's
It's
cute.
garden gnomes doing Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Oh my
it's
God,
awesome.
how funny. Did they
And
both commit suicide at the end?
I'm not going to give anything away.
Turbolt, I think that's his name. Tybalt. Yes. Oh man, they're gnomes. They're made out
One
of,
gets hit by a car.
Dude.
It's awesome. You got to check it out.
Okay. This week, do you believe it's been 20 years? Believe it? 20 years since Voyager started.
Despite me being underwhelmed by Voyager, but happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Yeah. Despite
I suddenly
how you felt
feel
about
so much older.
Now you're beginning to understand. Wait till you're 20 years further down, Michael, and down the road, and somebody.
All right, Mike. What year did you graduate from high school?
94.
94. Okay. Wait until you realize that. What was a huge movie your senior year?
I would not know off the top of my head.
That's our guy.
Alan just walked in. He's peering over my shoulder, and he sees the chat room and the geek goddess.
Saw those legs.
And he's big thumbs up from Alan.
Yeah.
Right on.
Janice, if you're listening, it doesn't mean I don't love you, but them gams. Speaking of which, Janice sends her love. She's very under the weather.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
hope she feels better.
I think she caught something on Ryza, if you know what I mean.
Learn it next time to use the wipes on the. So were you going to make fun of Michael's age?
Oh,
Or you done?
Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump,
All right.
The Lion King,
Wait until
Interview
that
with a
hits,
Vampire.
like, when you realize that something that you thought was so old when you were in high school, you're now 5 or 10 years past how old that was at the time. Like an example, I thought in junior high, let's say, 83, oh my God, the Beatles were forever ago. They broke up 13 years earlier. Just 13 years earlier.
Right. You definitely get kind of, when you're young, everything that occurred prior to your birth was forever ago. For me to sit down and think, God, I was born only 20 years after the end of World War II. That trips me out all the time.
I
Because
was
now I
born
have a
90
better
days after
understanding
the
of what
moon
20
landing.
years means.
I was
20
born
years is...
90 days after the moon landing.
I was kind of awake for that one.
They landed on the moon on my grandfather's birthday. How cool is that?
Right on.
That is cool.
Nothing cool like that ever happened on my birthday. I get like Dennis DeYoung performed Mr. Roboto for the first time or something.
By the way, they're playing here.
Well, they or him, because Tommy Shaw will have nothing to do with him anymore.
Well, no, then it's a Tommy Dix.
Yeah.
All
I can
right.
guarantee you that Kilroy was here will not be on the playset.
Yeah, really. Oregon Symphony is going to have a concert if you happen to live in and around the Portland area. They're going to be playing music from Star Trek as well as from video games, and it's going to be January 30th. At the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall. Tickets are anywhere between $55 and $125. And they're going to be doing a replay of Symphony of Heroes, which is the video game music, on Friday, March 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Arlene Schnitzer Hall. But the tickets are $30 to $95. They're going to be doing music from Zelda and other things. I just think that sounds like a blast. So if you happen to live in Oregon and you want a fun night out, listen to some great music that came from our genre stuff, which is the Mozart of this generation. Movie music, people are like, oh, it's just movie music. And I'm thinking, Mozart wrote operas for the common man. His most famous operas, which were soundtracks to a story, which was live movies for those people at that time. Mozart wrote fucking soundtracks. That's all that is. There. God, there's so much shit. Did you guys see this? All right. Got to touch on Dayton Ward and...
You can touch Dayton.
Out there. Touch Dayton. But I'm sure Mishi would have something to say with that.
You think?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
and I
Kevin's
wouldn't want to
going,
get on
nobody
her
ever wants
bad
to touch
side.
me.
I'm just saying.
Kevin's going, nobody ever wants to touch me.
Well, I was going to say, amongst the other Star Trek Vanguard authors, they announced, or Dayton found, that one of the fans out there is building a real-life, a touchable, tangible model of the USS Sagittarius. And for those who may not know, the Sagittarius is one of the 2 ships featured in the Seeker series, which is are we even calling it a spin-off of Vanguard? I guess you could.
Yeah, it's a continuation of the story.
That's what I was going to say, continuation.
And it's very cool. So the links are in Dayton's The Fog of War blog. Go check it out. It's very, very cool. I want one. I want one so bad.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
I want one. Then we have, look at all this crap. All right.
Terry's really selling the news fight. Look at all this crap.
That's all the, sorry. Look at all this amazing shit.
Fuck
news. God.
Chicago Tribune, the entertainment section of the paper, has announced that Chicago's I.O. Theater, the improv and comedy theater in Chicago, has re-enlivened. They're redoing improvised Star Trek. It was very popular a couple of years ago and is so popular that they decided to bring it back. And it's going to be a 3.5 or 2.5 month run at the Chicago's I.O. Theater. This is a comedy performance, an improv performance where the USS Enterprise, or I should say it's the USS Sisyphus, USS Sisyphus, and its crew take on improvised comedy. It started on January 11th and continues through March 1st. So if you live in and around Chicago and you want to get some fun-ass Star Trek, head over to the I.O. Theater.
You know, Terry, Chicago, it's the second city.
It is the second city. Chicago rocks, man. I loved it. Love it, love it, love it.
You know who's from Chicago?
Jen?
Yes, Jen Ucelis.
Mike just gets so happy. That's not what I was going to say, but yes, she is also.
Oh.
Who else then, too?
The Empress.
Oh, that's right. Well, she's kind of a transplant now, isn't she?
Yeah.
The next
Bowing
link,
to you, Empress.
The next link I put in there is yet another big-ass mansion for sale in Florida.
Oh, for God's sake. Another one?
Another one but this one again has Star Trek-themed rooms. Get a load of that theater. Isn't that beautiful? That is fucking beautiful. It's $35 million, and it has Star Trek-themed rooms, but the whole house isn't done in Star Trek, which I kind of like. It's a beautiful, kind of a classic style home, but it has like the game room, the theater room, and
Did you say theater?
Theater, yeah.
Just asking.
Okay. La la. The next thing we have is last week. Did any of you guys see or get to hear the performance done by Armin Shimmerman, Renee Auberjonois, Michael Dorn, Will Wheaton? They did the rereading of War of the Worlds.
I did not, but I heard about it.
Kind of bummed I missed it. I'm wondering if they recorded it at all, because I would really love to hear it.
That sounds like it would have been awesome.
I have to laugh at that headline. Will Wheaton and other Star Trek
I know. I laughed too. I thought it was cute because I actually heard about it through Armin Shimmerman on Facebook first.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy. And so, but it was Renee Auberjonois, Michael Dorn, Dean Haglund, Walter Koenig, Linda Park, Jason Ritter, Tim Russ, Armin Shimmerman, Will Wheaton. I love that. That must have been fun. So if anybody hears or knows if any of it was recorded and that's going to be available to listen to or watch, I would really love to find out. And
speaking of Linda Park,
share that. Yes.
There's a commercial for some financial advisor, like one of those investing firms, and she's the actress in the commercial, and it just kind of made me sad.
Yeah.
She's Hoshi.
Yeah. You want your favorite actors and actresses to get more work.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I because my first thought was like, what are they doing? And then I was like, well, she's working, so I'm not going to bitch about it.
Right.
But it just, it was, but that's Hoshi.
Yeah. La la la. All right.
Did you
chamber with Hoshi?
Well, I've got one.
Okay.
Sir Patrick Stewart was on The Talk.
Okay.
With and he was talking about Star Trek and X-Men, and he even does. At one point he mentions that Jean-Luc Picard was a Frenchman, so they had him try, and there's a recording somewhere in Paramount of him trying to do a French accent, and he actually does it in the show. So it was just awesome. It was hilarious. Definitely worth the taking a few minutes to check that out.
One of my favorite memes that's going around is of Patrick Stewart, and it says how Picard would look when he reached this age, and it's from All Good Things.
Uh-huh.
And then they were like, how he really looks at that age, and then it was like, what kind of deal with the devil did he make?
Yeah,
because
really.
he looks exactly the same.
It's kind of true. There is a speaking of Patrick Stewart, there's a great interview with him performed, or it was published by Southern California Public Radio at 89.3 KPCC. And I think the headline of it's kind of funny, is like, why Patrick Stewart was forced to flee Hollywood after Star Trek. Of course, that's a
We should all be in such
sensationalistic...
terrible straits as he is.
Because he was...
Jesus Christ.
But the interview itself is really, really wonderful. It talks about his new movie called Match. Talks about his work with not just Star Trek but X-Men, and it was his choice, of course, to move back to Great Britain to undertake different roles that he knew he wouldn't be able to get, because as Hollywood is, you tend to get stereotyped in a character, especially a Star Trek role. So he needed to find a way to break free from it. It is a burden that every Star Trek actor gets saddled with. Even Chris Pine right now, there isn't an article that is about him that Star Trek and Captain Kirk's character isn't mentioned.
And kudos to Jerry Ryan for doing so many different things. And actually, 7 of 9 does not come up really that much when they talk about her, because she's managed to build...
I don't know. I think she's still... I would like to see that. I would like to read... I think every article that she's in, I'm sure they mention her role as 7 and 9.
She doesn't distance herself from it
at
all.
Well, and I don't think a Star Trek actor can or should distance themselves from it, because they shouldn't be ashamed of that work. They shouldn't be.
Didn't at one point the actress who played Dax try to distance herself? And
no, there were some bad feelings with how she left.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want to.
Oh.
Yeah, she didn't want to leave.
Interesting. Okay. Well, since we're talking, we were talking about Patrick Stewart, I have one more.
Yes. I laughed my ass off.
Patrick Stewart made an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he portrayed the most annoying people on the plane.
He undertook the role of every single annoying person on an airplane you could ever meet. Did you see it, Nick?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just totally awesome.
Laughed my ass off. He's so funny. I love the fact that he's just so willing to play and have fun, you know?
And his bestie is the same way.
Yes. Ian McKellen.
I mean, they've done so much. They've done, I mean, they're at a point in their careers where, you know, what more is there? You know, really, they've accomplished so much. It's now they're just enjoying life,
well,
and
at their
that's
age,
awesome.
You know, why not?
Yeah.
What does either one have to prove to anybody on this planet? Not
exactly. And you know, in the chat room, we've got Patrick Stewart in a lobster costume. I mean,
in a bathtub.
Right, in a bathtub. So that tells it. That says it all. I mean, they're just loving life and having as much fun as they can, and I think that's awesome.
All right, the next 3 links I'm going to put into the chat room. I would
love to hang out with Ian McKellen.
Me too. Are you kidding? Oh my God, it'd be awesome.
He made Magneto the greatest of any of them in the X-Men.
I'd say pretty damn close.
Yeah, this first story, that you're talking about here. Go ahead, Terry, because I know you have something to say about the picking up of the meme.
All right. Everybody knows, or should by now, that last week the president of the network, the CW network, was interviewed or was on stage. He was doing a talk at some conference. And
can I interject for one thing here, Terry? Yes. For those that know, CW exists because when UPN and WB merged, they became the CW.
Right. And the quote-unquote fifth network, right?
Although, they have quite the stable of shows going.
They do. And they're also becoming known for scripted genre shows. So somebody asked him about whether or not, and here's the general question. This is the president of CW. They have nothing to do with CBS or Paramount, except for the fact that they were a
WB
network. Yeah. They were a network that carried a syndicated Star Trek show, correct?
Well, no. Voyager was the flagship show of WB.
That's true. Okay, so it wasn't done for syndication.
Right. It was done for WB.
That's what it was. It was done for WB.
And Enterprise was on UPN.
And then, well, who merged?
Was it UPN and WB?
And WB?
And it became CW?
I think NBC, it became CW.
Yeah.
And so this is technically a network that has a history with Star Trek because they had the rights to show a show that was created by, at the time, CBS and Paramount. And it was actually, So his quote, and this is what gives rise to everybody going, oh my God. And I'm telling people, chill the fuck out. And the quote was, somebody asked him, would he like to have another Star Trek show on the CW? And he says, as a lifelong Star Trek fan, I would hope to have Star Trek at the CW. He told the press at the TCA Winter Press Tour, but I have heard, and here's the other quote, I've heard no discussion about it going out as a TV series at all. Period. This is the whole quote. And what cracked me up about all three of these articles was the headlines. Digital Spy, the headlines read, Star Trek, the CW's president would hope to have a new TV series. The next one, TrekNews.net, CW president says he wants Star Trek. And the funniest one of all, the Complex, which takes his quote, totally twists it, and says the CW wants to make a new Star Trek series. That is not what he said. The CW can't make a new Star Trek. They don't even fucking own it. This is what happens.
By the way, thank you, Sensei All. It was UPN that Voyager was the flagship of, not WB.
Yeah, thank you. And it was, so I'm laughing here because 2 sentences from a president from a network that doesn't even and can't even make Star Trek has totally turned into, oh my God, we're getting Star Trek on the CW.
So people, when you read something about a politician or a war or something, just remember this.
Just remember this.
Hey, Go ahead, Nick. I'll finish up after.
No, this is what happened. Believe me, in my job, I've seen it happen
it's
firsthand.
So funny.
Just how, they're so stupid.
They're so stupid.
They make my nuts hurt.
I was going to say, words have very specific meanings.
Yes.
And you can look at words certain ways and get different meanings out of them, but truly, words have very specific meanings.
Yeah.
And so I laughed my ass off when I saw the one from Complex come out. It's like, CW wants to make new Star Trek series. And I'm thinking, well, they may want to, but they're never gonna.
And I want $1 million, but...
I laughed my ass off. I was like, well, there you go. Oh, it's so funny. And so, of course, what they do is the Complex doesn't even have a full article. You know, these are these news bits. These are clickbait sites. And it says, try not to freak out, guys. Well, that's how they start off their articles. Try not to freak out. This is just the slightest indication that Star Trek may return to television. And I'm like, no, it was a network president who thought, gee, if they make a new Star Trek, quote, if they make a new Star, I would really like to have it on the CW. He was thinking and talking like a network president who wouldn't say no to a show if it was offered to him to put and air, right? This is a guy who would be like, if they make Star Trek, you better believe I'll take it.
I've got to tell you, of the networks, I think I would want CW to do it.
I agree. Yeah. It would be great.
Look at Arrow, look at Flash, look at, there's now I haven't watched a lot of it just because I flip off after Arrow because usually, during this season we usually had an interview when Arrow went off the air. The show that comes on after it about the people that are in space in the station and then now they're coming back to Earth.
Oh yes,
The 100.
The 100. Yeah.
They're doing good quality television, genre television.
Yeah. It would definitely be at home there, but I think the only way that they would actually be able to get their hands on it is if it was produced for syndication rather than under
I don't know because they could make it because they make Arrow and Flash.
Well, what I mean is they would have to either get a license to actually create it, or they would have to pick it up through syndicate.
I'm sure they would have to
produced.
They would have to pay out the nose to get it.
Yeah, unless, like I said, it was produced for syndication itself, then any network can pick it up and air it whenever.
Well, wasn't that what WB and all those were? Remember, Terry, when we were growing up, the UHF stations.
Oh, yeah.
In my area, we had 56 and 38 out of Boston and that kind of stuff. That's what a lot of those channels went to, either UPN or WB when those started. Are there truly any mom and pop stations anymore?
In my area, I think so, yes.
Yeah, but you also... Yeah.
I live in the sticks.
Yeah. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I don't. Not around here. Well, there's what do they call it? Free access stuff.
Yeah,
right?
but like 56 was the channel in Boston that had Creature Double Feature every Saturday.
They're all gone. They're all gone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then it became, I think, a UPN station when UPN came out.
Right. They're all gone. They were either bought up or they were shut down, or they just didn't have the money to be able to pay to stay on.
The digital conversion did shut down a lot of them.
It really did.
That's true. That's very true, Mike. Over the air, there was so much. I don't want to get nostalgic.
I mean, upgrading all that equipment. I mean, if they didn't have money, they had to sell out or shut down.
Well, Terry, you lived in California, and Grimmy's in the room now. You guys probably Svengoolie.
Oh yeah, he's still on though.
Yeah, but that's what local television was awesome about. Oh God, and the local Howdy Doody version of a kids show that were always so bad. That's true. Matthew Anderson says the internet has replaced local TV.
That's true. It's kind of cool. They're doing Thunderbirds as an animated. That's what
live action.
No, it looks animated.
Is it? Oh, it looks animated. Oh yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Sunsail, we don't need your snark.
Yes, we do. We love Sunsail snark. All right, let's get to some Star Trek convention news.
Shall we just start right off the bat with a Las Vegas update?
Are we still talking Vegas, right?
We are.
Talking about Vegas.
Yes.
You're coming to Vegas, right?
Star Trek Las Vegas may take place every August, but on this show...
This is where we hang out the rest of the year.
Exactly.
The crew has been fatigued now from so many months in space, and they need to take a break. The landing party has beamed down to check out the terrain while the crew gets ready to play. They say there's only plant life living on this lovely rock, but a rodent appears wearing a vest.
Oh my God, I told you there was a lot to go through. So, a few people have been added this week to the Star Trek Las Vegas roster. We already talked about Jerry Ryan and being added last week, but Vic Fontaine, James Darren has been added. Everybody knows that one of the best things about the last night of the convention is that what do they call them? I was going to say Blues Brothers, but I'm like, my brain just fried. The Rat Pack.
Yeah. At the Brat Pack. Jesus. Yeah, Judd Nelson shows up.
Well, the nice thing is that Mr. Darren is going to be performing with Dennis McCarthy, who's going to be conducting the Nevada Pops on the Saturday night concert, which should be pretty fucking amazing. So he doesn't have to sing with, recorded songs. He can sing with a fucking 45-piece orchestra. I think that's awesome.
I say this in all seriousness, and Terry knows I'm dead serious about this. If you're going to the convention, or if you don't have plans, James Darren is one of the very last of a group and a breed that we still owe so much to as far as music.
Yep.
And it is worth it to go to the convention, even if you get a one-day ticket, to go for that last night or whenever he's performing, because one, he does a great show, and you're talking about a guy that drank with Frank Sinatra and those guys, and is a true piece of Hollywood and entertainment history.
Now here's some really great news about Mr. Darren.
I'm hoping to check it out this year.
Yeah. Look how fast the Blues Brothers went up.
James Darren, here's the good news. We'll actually have a table in the vendor's room all weekend.
Really?
Such a nice guy. Yeah, he did last year, Mike. He was right behind us.
Oh, that's totally awesome.
The Ferengi were all behind us, and he was with the Ferengi.
That's right.
Right on.
I don't know. Did we all know that Terry Farrell was added?
I don't think so.
I think the guys did.
Yeah, I think the guys did too. Terry Farrell's been added to the roster. Going through a few more.
She's such a sweetie.
Oh, we already knew about Thea Batten. We already talked about. She played Zial in DS9. She'll be there. Then Tracy Scoggins we discussed as well last week. This week, Joseph Gatt, who played Officer 0718 in Star Trek Into Darkness, but he's also had roles in Game of Thrones and Teen Wolf. He'll be there.
This is not a dig on Stead. Officer 0718.
I know.
Somebody help me out. I don't remember.
He was the bald android in the back.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was his name.
Yeah.
So they really are trying to do a Lucas thing here by giving everybody a name.
Yes.
Well, that's something that Larry has been trying to make sure that, that's something that Larry is all for, is because trying to keep people and characters straight. I mean, I remember Larry telling us a story about Star Trek Continues, his time on Continues. There was a nurse, and in the script it was a nameless nurse, but he fought and got her named so that when he talked about her, he actually can refer to her as a person rather than...
I love Larry.
I do
Larry's
too.
awesome.
And that girl was awesome. Remember when she came by the booth, Terry?
Yeah.
So sweet.
Yep. The other person who was added is Richard Poe. He played Gul Evek in TNG and DS9 and Voyager.
Gul Evek was awesome.
And
Right on.
it's great. This is his first Las Vegas appearance too, and he will also have a table in the vendor's room throughout the convention. Aaron Eisenberg has yet again confirmed, and we already knew that Dennis McCarthy was going to be there. So they're starting to add people on a more regular basis to the Star Trek Las Vegas roster and give it a look over and pay attention to what's going on. Again, it occurs August 6th through 9th at the Las Vegas Rio Hilton and Casino, or the Rio Hotel and Casino.
I think you guys will enjoy this. I got a text, I think it was yesterday, it may have been Friday. Wait, Jadzia died and the Prophets left? Guess where she is? I was like, how did you not know Jadzia died? Remember Nicole DeBoer, Esri Dax, the one that I made you stop so that we could take a picture? She was like, I didn't know who she was.
Oh, that's so cute. Aww.
Yeah, she was like, but Jadzia's dead.
Dude. See, now we're supposed to be talking about books.
Books. They're these bound things with paper and words.
I've heard tales of the dead tree format, but I don't believe them. No, you're wrong. They're this thing that you put on your Kindle.
Amazon, ebook. If you haven't bought it, I will cunt punch you.
That's a great line.
It's a good line.
Do you read Star Trek novels?
I'm sure Swallow has some stories he could tell us.
I love big books and I can't buy.
That's one of the really good things in life. To me, as long as it's enjoyable to read.
That's a good book. Wasn't it a good book, Mike?
It was.
That's because Mackenzie Calhoun is badass. No, it is not a Cardassian generational epic.
I was like in heaven.
It's really good.
Right on.
All right, the next link. I'm not exactly sure how I tripped across this, but it's this cool link to a site that was created by Steve Roby that allows you to look up essentially any Starfleet or a Star Trek book that was ever written.
Interesting.
It's called the Complete Starfleet Library. You can browse novels and find out what novels were written just by pulling down and choosing from a series of drop-down menus. So if you're looking for a Star Trek Next Generation book, you click on Star Trek Next Gen, and it brings up the complete library with links to the novelizations of the episodes, the paperback novels, the young adult books, the books in crossovers, and then also links to Titan and related Titan and Destiny trilogy, which are related to Star Trek TNG because they had characters that crossed or moved on from there. It is the coolest little thing, and I don't even know where I found it, and I just have to say, wow, thanks guys, this rocks! It's a very nifty little tool. Isn't that great?
Right on.
I really, really like it. So, oh, good. Steve just finished Red King. You should just keep going with the Titan books. I'm saying one of the other things. So that I thought was really, really great book news because there are a lot of people going, oh, I don't, they don't have interest in every single series, right? There are Voyager fans who just want to read Voyager books. There's TNG fans who just want to read TNG. I have to say, I tend to read TNG-based books as opposed to TOS-based books because TOS was not my favorite show. So if I'm going to spend an effort on reading books from a particular series, I'm probably going to look for books in the next gen realm. I love that tool. I think it's very, very cool. And
the link will be in our show notes.
Yes. And let's see. And then the IDW comics this week through StarTrek.com, we find out that IDW's The Q Gambit concluded last Wednesday with the release of its last comic book. I haven't gotten a comic book in almost a year now.
Insert sad Hulk music.
Sad Hulk music. Oh my God, I totally know this. The Bill Bixby sad.
Yep, exactly. Somebody's bitching at work. I'll turn that on and play it really loud.
Well, the this one was kind of interesting now. I kind of want to read it because it's got Gul Dukat on it.
Who doesn't love Gul Dukat? Well, Kira.
Yeah.
That's a creepy picture of Gul
Isn't it?
Dukat.
Isn't it?
It reminds me from the episode where he was the cult leader.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the
and Pak Nor.
Yeah, that looking at that, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Where he's just like, my children,
my children. That's the sound. Matthew Anderson once again pops in a link to the sad Bill Bixby Hulk music.
Right on.
Very, very funny. So let's move on to some.
That's true.
Online
They did
news.
use it in Family Guy.
Did they really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Funny.
They. I was going to ask you a question. Talking about the Q Gambit and Gul Dukat, and okay, go ahead.
And then I was going to move on to Star Trek Online.
I want to play Star Trek Online.
Engineering here. Warp engines are online.
Course laid in, Captain.
Engage.
Your ship.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Your crew.
Move out.
Your destiny.
Yeah, I have something I want to say about Star Trek Online. You guys want to get your talk about the game out of the way first? Because I have a question that may lead to discussion.
Okay. A whole bunch of stuff came out this week because we're, of course, preparing for the 5th anniversary of Star Trek Online. And a lot of those new changes that are coming through with regards to the bridge officer specializations, as well as a new specialization for the captains, which is the command specialization. Right now you get commando, there's pilot. What else is there, Mike? Commando, pilot, and intelligence.
Yeah.
That they're adding command, a command specialization. And they're also doing a command trait for bridge officer training, which I think is pretty cool. Nice to see that we're getting some interesting ways to train bridge officers and that you don't have to retrain them all over and over and over again and spend a whole bunch of EC to now swap out their traits, which I think is pretty fucking cool. They also, this is the last day, I think it ends tomorrow morning, is the XP bonus, the bonus XP weekend as they gear up for the anniversary. So for those of you who are trying desperately to level up to level 60, which I finished yesterday, so excited. I finally got Beth to level 60.
Congratulations.
Got to play the last mission that they have in there, which tied a whole bunch of shit up and yet laid the path down for the next road, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you can get double XP. So everything that you can get XP for, including your DOF missions, all pay double XP this weekend till tomorrow morning. So if you
need specialization points, now's the time to
get it. Yeah, that's right. And finally, there's a new toy for science vessels. So if you're flying a science ship, you can now get the secondary deflectors, which we all kind of knew was coming, but they're going to be put into the game at the same time as the 5th anniversary. So the new secondary deflector item slot will be placed onto the science ships, and then there's different types of secondary deflectors which will allow you those increased factors. So there's 2 different kinds. There's 3 different kinds really. In deteriorating, inhibiting, and resonating secondary deflectors, which all either buff or debuff your opponent. Buff you or debuff your opponent. They're very, very cool. There's a lot of
Midnight Shadows says that we already had them, but the selection was only 2 deflectors. Now we get a more extensive choice.
Much more extensive choice. And that's why I'm saying we kind of already knew that they were there. It was just that these are the broad.
I think it was only available on like one set of ships, one class of ships. I want to say it was the Vesta,
the Dyson.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah, the Dyson ships.
Oh, the Dyson.
Oh,
okay.
It was the Dyson ship. That's exactly what it was. Yep.
So now it looks like is it all science vessels are getting them, or tier 5s, or how's that working?
I want to say it was tier 6 ships, but I don't know. Might be tier 5Us. Secondary deflectors. So, because it's able to protect the Dyson Science Destroyers were the first starship to feature a secondary deflector. Our inspiration came from Starfleet engineers. For successful field studies, secondary deflectors have been authorized for rollout to all science vessels.
All science vessels. Cool.
So,
all right.
I think last but not least, I wanted to talk about a little bit about the story that I had been able to get through now, but I know Nick wants to talk too. So I think Nick may trigger part of this conversation. So Nick, what were you going to touch on?
I haven't played Stowe since around Christmas time, and I got a question for you. What do you think Stowe needs to do? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. To up its wow factor again, because I'm far more interested in, at this point, in, training bridge officers just doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? It seems almost like Al, I love you guys, I love you guys, but like hey, look over there, look over there, look over there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think here's my take on it. While I agree with you that you and I, the three of us have always been, we play for the story. Right? Can I speak for you on that, Mike?
Of course.
Okay. So
Mike was screwed for the longest time because he was playing the Klingon story.
Right. And they had none. So they fleshed that out, and they fleshed out some additional things. It has been difficult, and I'm not going to lie. It has been difficult to care about a game where leveling to get to play a mission, right? I kind of like the fact that they made you wait. I wasn't upset about the fact that I had to wait to get to level 59 or level 60 to play a mission. That didn't bother me. It was the length of time that it took me to get and what I had to do to get to that next level that became an issue for me. And because there was that stretch, it depended on what kind of mood I was in. If I was in the mood to play the game, then I would grind Kobali Prime for a little bit, and I would do a few bug hunts. But I have to admit, I turned into, I'll sign on, I'll get my R&D, I'll load up on new DOF missions, I'll sign off. I was in game for no more than 5 minutes.
That's pretty much my regular.
And that's, I don't think what they want.
No, I don't want to be mining dilithium.
That's the kind of stuff you should be doing through like Gateway, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Here's the thing. I also, and we've been through this for 5 years now. We also know that these kind of changes, the bridge officer training, the duty officer switch, or the bridge officer training, the captain specialization, all of these are what Stephen D'Angelo is known for. He's an operations, he's a tech guy, he's a systems guy, right?
Yeah.
What I see all of this is laying the foundation for that next step. But these things are done in 3 to 6 month calendars. And so we're kind of bored with a game that we're not going to really see story changes or a new expansion until another expansion comes out that has a shitload of new story. And
hold on. I want to address this real quick. I had heard, I believe it was through Tribbles and Ecstasy and Midnight Shadow mentioned on in the chat room that on P1, Smirk had said that they're working to bring us more regular content this year.
Yes.
We hear that all the time.
Well,
yeah.
The idea, the impression that I got, I mean, and some of the things that we have seen is more, more story coming out as, I can't even think of the word right now, but more story content coming out periodically. Right. I mean, look at everything we're getting with this anniversary. This is basically a new season, or how the seasons used to be.
Yes.
They're just not calling it. They're just referring to it as the anniversary event.
Yeah.
But the reality is, this is a new season.
Pretty much
worth of content. So I don't know.
But the content that's coming out is systems based, which is what seasons usually are.
From what I understand, there's a high chance that we're going to get 2 stories out of this.
Be fun.
I guess my since I got my Xbox, and I know I'm late getting a console system and all of that, but I just find that the time. First of all, sometimes I go in and it's absolutely fun to play. Other times it's so laggy that it's brutal. Just trying to get from one mission to another, like flying through space, was so laggy that I would log off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was driving me nuts. But I'm finding that now that I'm playing things like BioShock and what's the one? Borderlands, or a sandbox game like Minecraft, which I thought I would despise, and yet I'm hopelessly addicted to. Oh my god, you should see the house I built. Oh, it's got windows underwater, but and all these different things, and the Batman Arkham series, and all these things. So my game money, if you will, and I kind of use that in air quotes. I mean, I'm still paying for my monthly subscription, and I don't know why, because maybe that's it. I'm not getting $15 worth of enjoyment out of it. I'm getting, okay, now I got to go to this system. Now I got to do that. Now, one thing that maybe is if we could get the fleet doing more stuff again together and all that, because that was a big part of the fun.
Right.
But,
well,
we
now
all have lives.
Right. We all have lives, but also we're also tier 5 on everything. We've done it. We're built. We're there. And now it's like, okay, what? There was no other projects for us to do as a fleet. And
this
Reputation I'm done with. Even
this
Dice.
is not me bagging on Cryptic. This is me in any way, shape, or form. I love Al, and I know that Al takes a lot of shit. I love Al. I know where Al's heart is at, and that he's, Al is as big a fan as you will ever meet of Star Trek.
You will ever meet.
And Roomcat, I love, and Christine, and
yeah, but they're in the middle of, everybody knows it. It's just kind of stagnant right now.
So, my gaming time, which is a valuable time to a person,
It's spent on other things.
It's not, to use lack of a better term, must see TV for me, must play game anymore, where at one time it was. And I want to be in love with the game again. Yeah. I really do. But not.
So would you say
Legend of Romulus was so amazing, and not because it was Romulus. Yeah, not because it was Romulus. I was going to ask
if that was the last time that you actually felt you were in love with the game.
Yeah, I mean, if it had been Legend of Cardassia or something like that, just the whole thing about it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting that boner for the Delta Quadrant. And maybe it's because I wasn't the biggest Voyager fan, but that's not even it. Legend of Romulus was new. It was new ground. It was new Trek story.
I'm really hopeful. Yeah, I'm really hopeful that some of the tech changes that they're putting into place is going to make it a far more functional and open game to allow for more story. Now, it's always been our number one complaint that we just never get enough story, but then again, we eat it up like candy, right? It's like, okay, what's next? What's next? It all goes back to the way that feature episodes were 2 years ago. I still think that feature episodes are a really great idea. Put them out once every other month. Give us a new, great 1 hour playable episode every 8 weeks.
And to be honest, I get quite confused.
Once every 3 months, give them a little
give
bit
them 12
time.
weeks?
Yeah.
As a casual gamer, which is what I would classify myself. I mean, I love gaming and I do it, but I would say I'm more casual. I get really confused by you've got to have this to do that and then this to do that. And it's getting to the point where I don't want to have to read through all the notes and everything to understand what's going on. And it seems like it's gotten way more complex.
I don't know. You're talking to the wrong person on that one, because I don't, I've never been a min-maxer. I laugh because I finished my Delta Rising Reputation last week. I finished it up, and what did I do? I played Bug Hunt. I didn't set another. I don't need new stuff. I made it to level 60 on Mark 12 gear. Regular Mark 12 gear. I don't need the new gear to play it. And that's okay. I don't want to have to need the new gear to play the game, but now I've reached it. So the only thing left for me to do in this game that would be considered quote unquote new is to jump in, start a Delta Rising Reputation thing to get a new piece of gear, which I don't need because I've already finished my storyline.
Let me ask you both a question. Legacy of Romulus, would that have made a great novel?
Absolutely.
Do you think Delta Rising would make a great novel?
I do.
Okay.
I really do. I think that I have to, and that's part of the reason why I knew that your conversation was going to draw us into, oh my God, I'm loving where this story is going. I really do.
See, maybe
how far along are you in it?
I wasn't very far at all.
Oh,
well, that's why it's slow to start, but once you get deeper and further into it, and things start unraveling.
I got an angry email this week from somebody that said, you used pro wrestling analogies too much. But you know what? There's some great writing where there was in pro wrestling. And what's the two most important matches in a pay-per-view? The opening match match and the closing match. The opening match, which a lot of people didn't realize because, it's the curtain jerker. No, you got to get people going right from the start. And having a slow start to Delta Rising was not good for me. Legend of Romulus had a pretty fast start.
It did. It really, that is very true, but it was also, everything about it was new. You're in Delta Rising, you're playing characters that you already know.
Right. And Johnny Snowball, Jesus, this sounds like a porn name, just said, I never liked the Ramis, you bastard communist, but I loved being a Rami from the first moment on the colony. Yep. Delta is so far has left somewhat dull.
I think the reason why it's feeling dull is because it's also watered down. I mean, the story is so it's got this certain pace that they expect you to take, and you're being forced to constantly stop.
Yes.
You start building some momentum, and then all of a sudden you're being forced to stop to go level somewhere else, or to do a patrol, or do something that has nothing to do with the story. So
that's
like
that's
gated.
That's as
the
far
missions
as I
are
got.
Gated, Nick.
That's as far as I got was the first 3-system patrol mission. And I'll tell you, I got really pissed that I had to go all the way from one end up through that one all the way to the end of the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah. The missions are gated. They're level gated. So you can't get to the next mission until you reach that next level. So there's a reward for you to go through the level, and that is, you get your story mission here. Here's you reach level 58, you get a mission. You reach level 59, you get a mission. You reach level 60, you get that final mission.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I didn't necessarily mind that so much because I found myself, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. You're either going to gobble it up all at once, or you're going to hate the fact that you're being trailed on. Yeah. I think that it takes too much time to get to the levels.
I think Mike has hit something really good there. You get into a groove and you're grooving and you're in the story, and it's like watching a show. Commercial drops in out of nowhere. Oh, fuck.
It's true.
This is why Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, that is exactly right. I mean, we're a society. Our entertainment, we like to binge. That's the latest big trend.
Now here's the thing though. Here's where it sucks for those of us who are pushing our mains, who were already at level 50. Mm-hmm. And I mean mains that you've already
For me it would have been Stan.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the mains, you've already done all of the story missions, and it takes a long time to get from 50 to 60. Here's the other side of it though, and I'm gonna tell you it's fucking cool. I started playing on one of my alts.
But one of the cool things, Terry, is one of the complaints that people had was it was too fast to level up. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing that it takes a while.
Right.
It's just I think Mike has really hit something with the commercials, if you will.
Yeah.
The patrol missions.
But that's only going to happen when you've got that character that's already played
all the current
or previous missions. And that's what I was getting to is I started to play one of my alts. I started to play Bill last week. Bill was level 50, yes. But you know where he was at in the storylines? He was just starting True Way.
Yeah.
So he's level 50, just starting True Way. I'll have him leveled to 60 by the time I hit the Borg shit.
Yeah, and then so you'll be just building
and by the time I'm done with all of that, and I get him to Delta Rising. Heck, even when I get to probably the Romulan stuff or the Jenolan Dyson Sphere stuff, when I get him to the Dyson Sphere stuff, he'll be a level 60. All of those missions in Delta Rising will be open for him, and he'll be able to play them in succession.
Yeah, from that point
it was
forward,
just really
you're just
hard on
mains.
Yeah, exactly. It's just really, it's going to be very, very hard on mains. But if you are a new person playing this game from the very beginning, Delta Rising's gated missions are going to be nothing. They're going to be nothing.
Now,
so it sucks now, but if you're playing a character that's got a shitload of story missions and episodes to get through, you're never going to notice.
And I can't even imagine somebody like Terry, you've got 18 alts?
Yeah.
I can't imagine if you were all the way up to speed with all 18 and having to go through this now with all 18. That just,
Well, I have to admit that I had taken or used one of those XP bonus pots or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
and it made my experience so much easier than a lot of other people's. I was actually able to do the story missions pretty much one after the other. I really did not have to go track down other means to earn experience.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is a benefit to that. So I just wanted to let people know that it is an option, but it is an expensive option.
It is an option. The XP weekend is going to be big. It's a big kangaroo.
Yeah.
The XP weekend is going to be very, very useful. It was for me. Like I said, I was able to get from level 59 to level 60 very painlessly yesterday. I got to do my favorite stuff on Kobali Prime. Beth is an expert at diagnosing battle wounds.
Now, Terry, you had, I don't think we talked about it last week. You said you needed to read the trade news more, the financial news, because of something going on there.
Yeah. Well, PWE, I don't know what the status was. I don't know what the vote was, or even if it's been held yet, that the founder of Perfect World Entertainment had made an offer to privatize Perfect World Entertainment. And that means buying back all the stock, all of it. He had made an offer of $20 per share, which at the time the offer was made was about $6 over the going value of the stock, and it shot up to about 18 or 19 the next day. I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if the shareholders decided to take him up on his offer or not. If anybody knows, that would be interesting to know. But they may not have even held the vote yet, because you know how getting legal documents out to shareholders takes a bit of time. So whether or not they reprivatize may change the company a little bit, but I'm not afraid of what it's going to do to Cryptic. I'm really not. I'm actually kind of hopeful that it'll be a good change, because every company has its upsides and downsides, and a public company, its biggest downside, especially for a company that's considered to be entertainment based or creative based, their biggest problem is they're answering to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of shareholders who have a literal vested fiduciary interest in your company. So if you can't perform, meaning you can't make them a decent, meaning double-digit profit year over year, then you're not performing up to their standards, and they can vote the fuck your CEO. They just vote to just get rid of people who aren't performing up to their standards, meaning making money. The advantage there is you work for a private company. Working for a private company, yes, the owner wants to make money. There's no doubt about it. The upside is an owner who owns a creative company tends to be just a bit more relaxed on the creative side of things, might be more or less risk averse, meaning they're ready to take chances with something that might not make as much money as they're used to. The downside is that you can also end up with an owner who's a dictatorial jerk, right? So you don't know. I don't know what this man is like. If they end up privatizing Perfect World Entertainment, it just seriously depends on what kind of a person he is, what his risk tolerance is, and what his absolute need for profit is. If he's willing to take a single digit profit year over year, that 8 to 9% as opposed to 12 to 15%, you might actually see some serious reinvestment in all the Perfect World games.
That was my Mr. Miyagi impression. It
was well done, Michael.
So I don't know if anybody knows what the status of that was, but I do. I need to get back into the trade papers and read them more to find out what happened, if anything.
I asked that question because I want them to succeed.
Yes, me too. And like I said, I think.
And happy birthday, Amy.
Yeah, and some of the stuff that they're doing, I really do believe, is laying the foundation to make it more. And let's get to the honest part of it. MMOs. I'm not sure if I would call them a dying breed as much as they're an evolving breed of games. The one thing that companies need to do is diversify their market, right? They need to diversify their product or products, or diversify their company to be able to weather the changes of an ever-changing market. MMOs have been around now for a solid 10, 15 years. And the fact is they just don't sell the way that console games sell. And console games sell nowhere near what mobile gaming sells. From a business standpoint, taking away your personal feelings from an MMO platform or a console gaming platform. As a business owner, you're going to need to weather the idea that maybe MMOs are on their way out the door. So you need to set yourself up to either change the games that you've got now to deal with a mobile gaming platform or create a whole new mobile gaming department. And with the moves that Cryptic has made over the past 5 years, namely being sold by Atari, being bought by Perfect World, and buying onto themselves a wholly owned subsidiary in Seattle, which focuses on mobile gaming, and with the influx of the new tech being put into Star Trek Online, my gut says Gateway is going to be fucking huge.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be getting it sooner than later. But I mentioned last week, I think it's going to be coming out either with the anniversary or sometime, immediately after. But I think they have everything pretty much in place now.
I think so. The ability for us to handle all of the little techie issues while we're on our cell phones or our iPads or tablets, while we're out farting around outside of the house and we're not tied to the PC, means that, I can doff, I can set up my bridge officers, and then I can go home and play 2 or 3 missions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's part of it is I don't want to have to be going fucking mining dilithium and sending DOFs out and doing 17 administrative things before I get to do anything.
That eats up all of my playtime. I literally have no time to play after I do all of that stuff.
Right.
Whether
we're not
doing my ship or,
we're not playing the game to do paperwork,
And if we can do that, offline, well, not offline, but through the gateway.
Yeah.
When I actually sit down at my computer to actually play, I can actually collect some of the resources I need in order to do that stuff the next day or later that night or whenever the case, whenever it hits me.
And think about how fun that was. I'm really looking forward to this. If they can finally get Gateway up and operating and allow me to do all of my DOF work and even some of my bridge officer training and setting them up and getting everything ready on that, like Nick said, the administrative. I would how funny this is how a Star Trek person thinks is I'm at lunch, I'm sitting at whatever fast food joint I'm having lunch at. I've got my pad and I'm I'm doing the administrative work with a fucking pad. Getting, okay, this assignment here, this assignment here, this assignment here. That's great. Oh, I get orders in from Starfleet when I get back to my ship home, and then I can go do my missions. And I know that my duty officers are out there doing their jobs, and I get to play without having to do the administrative stuff. Administrative stuff will be kind of separate and apart, and yet it'll be kind of fun because you'll be doing it apart. No, it's like, it's time to doff. If they're smart enough and they can do something like a push notification that tells me on my iPad that this duty officer's mission has returned and now he's reporting back in. All right, great. Acknowledge report. Get my dilithium and my rewards. I put that on. Send another person out. That it's that 5-minute thing that I'm doing now, but I won't be limited to doing
worry
it
about
at
it
home.
later.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
and
hopeful
that frees you up to be able to play the actual game.
If they come out with actual game, there's my problem. Right now, my biggest fear is there going to be enough actual game to play when we finally get the administrative shit set to the side. That's what the focus.
Well, look at everything. Look at everything that they've revamped. Okay. So, which I believe all this stuff is potential components for the gateway. All of them require vast amount of resources.
Yes.
Whether it's crafting stuff or dilithium or whatever the case may be. All of it requires substantial resources, and really the best way to get those resources is to physically play the game. So again, in order to do your crafting, in order to do your anything that you're going to end up being able to do on the gateway, you still have to play the game in order to get those. Sure, you can do DOS and get some, but it's going to take a lot longer. But if you can use the gateway to spend all those resources and then use your playtime to earn those resources, it's a cycle, and you're getting all of these different logins, both from the gateway side and as well as from the game side. Even if the game side doesn't actually increase, it should encourage people to play more, because again, you need these resources. You need to spend these resources on the gateway side. You really can't earn them as fast as you can in game. So I think it's going to end up helping people play more than anything else.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting next few months. I'm looking forward very much to the 5th anniversary stuff that's coming out. I know that we had talked about doing a Life Pod 1, but we're out of time. We had a couple of really great conversations.
I did want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What'd you think of episode 3 of Agent Carter?
Loved it. It was more subdued than the first 2, but I was okay with that.
I really liked the ending.
I did
in the diner.
Yeah, but so good. And that one scene made me double think what I was thinking about the waitress. So
I told you.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking it. I'm still thinking it.
In the ladies' dorm.
Yeah, true.
I wonder about her.
Yeah, she's a plant.
But is she though? Because
or she Hydra.
That was so fucking hilarious when he was at the wrong window.
Yeah, I'm loving Agent Carter. I really am. And Haley
Isn't it
Atwell,
amazing when they write somebody?
How can you not adore her?
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you, when blank happened to blank, I thought I would be happy, but I really wasn't.
Talking about too. Go watch it, people, if you haven't watched it yet. It's really fun.
This is me actually caring and not giving a spoiler if you haven't seen it. But were you shocked by that? Because I was.
By how you felt by that?
No, I wasn't shocked when he was driving the guy to jail. I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, I think we all did.
But I was shocked that happened because that's a pretty major player in the show in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah. And
but Marvel does that.
I'll call his girlfriend.
I'll call his wife.
I'll call his girlfriend.
That was hilarious.
That was fucked up, man.
But yeah, they're really nailing it with Agent Carter. And it was funny because I saw tweets. I get so pissed every time they call her honey. That's the point. You're missing the point. That's what they did back then. The good old days. They were the good old days for a reason. Look at Terry cracking her knuckles.
Close. It was more of a roll of the eyes. I know. Well, yeah, again, what we'll do is, we'll do a Life Pod 1 like in 5 minutes next week. I doubt we'll have as much news next week.
Do you really think we can do a Life Pod 1 in 5 minutes?
No, but do you want to start doing episode discussions? Because I do.
Oh, we can do that.
Okay, cool.
Look, people, we actually had a show.
We have a show. All right. Well, that was it for episode 175. Join us next week on the 25th for episode 176. Until then, live long and prosper.
Kapla.
Jolan True, fuck nuts.
Music for the G&T show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5-Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.
G&T Show is a Busy Little Beaver production.
Gonna take a 5-year tour. Boldly go where no man's gone before. Gonna travel to the end and make new friends. Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my old man. Represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I've sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy-free galaxy. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with me. There'll be no cons or Kobayashi. Gonna travel to the end and make new friends with aliens. To boldly go where no GNT.